Sweet. What is
it.
up, dude?
I was
What's
like
up, dude?
sitting on my end, just like, well, I wonder how this
Well,
happens.
I saw you. I saw you jump on, and then I got a text message to say here, and then I looked. They're like, no, you're not
I thought I had to, yeah, I'm so bad at technology.
here. Well, you're here, man, and it's great to see your face. It's been a while,
I know.
but it's we've been in contact, and you look great, man. So,
I still can't
um,
grow a beard, so
dude, me either. Come on, look at this. What is this? I can't even grow to my scar. So, um,
amazing.
but cool, man. I know that you're kind of tight on time, so we're going to dive into it. All right.
Sure.
I've never done this dual screen. This is pretty sweet. So the first question I want to ask you, man, is what was the reason why you wanted to make a change?
The reason that I had wanted to make a change, I think the biggest motivator for me was kind of uh, like not for me, like health is really important. My family is someone who, or my family is a group of people who have gone through kind of a lot of like illness and kind of things that kind of felt beyond their control.
Yeah.
When realistically, when you break things down, it really just comes to how you kind of live your life on the everyday. And so for me, I'd always kind of been interested in fitness, but once I started to kind of get into more of the kind of long-term effects or the kind of compound effect of taking care of yourself, whether that be weightlifting or yoga or whatever the case may be, it just seemed more alluring to me to be able to start taking control of my health in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had always been interested, but the real motivator for me was like, okay, I need to actually not be passive about this anymore. I actually have to be really kind of make this promise to myself and be like, okay, we're going to start. We're going to start.
Kind of make that commitment and to progress yourself in that area because you've been telling that to yourself for so long, and then you're like, I need to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think health is like health is something that we really take for granted, especially as young people. And it's something that we don't think about until later on in life. And,
Right.
then you're spending tons of money to try to battle something that you've been putting off for decades.
Seriously.
So
It's preventative. So it's it's amazing that you realized that and you acted upon it, and that's a beautiful thing, man. So that kind of goes into like, so you have this, and you want to make a change. What made you choose to make that change with Leif and I?
I mean, I kind of found you guys online because I was like looking into the kind of vegan lifestyle in general, and then you guys were still like very like baby Instagram accounts at the time that I came across you guys. Like you had like 500 followers or something,
Right.
But I really liked your kind of energy, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I mean, I had done like the CamFit Pro training in my past, so I was like kind of aware of what I wanted from a trainer.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of, I started engaging with Leif first, and just he was like very quick to answer my questions and very kind of like attentive to the things, kind of my tentativeness around like,
Right.
how much is this going to cost me? Like, how does this work?
Right.
Like, he was very kind of forthcoming about like being very transparent and like, and to kind of watch you guys build it. In hindsight, has been like really cool. But so I think what drew me to you guys first was just Leif's kind of transparency about like, this is what we're doing. We're in the beginning stages. This is like, we're very passionate about this. We are very well educated in this, and we're just trying to make a community. So for me, community is extremely important, and so I think that's what I kind of gravitated towards. I also just like no bullshit, and I felt like he wasn't really shitting me. So
No, that's our whole point, and that's what we're trying to do. Is like we don't want people to think that we're trying to scam you, right? Like we want you just to know that, like, here's what it is. This is what you need to do. How you do it, and then have that support behind that. And it's what did you think of the community aspect of the program?
I really liked knowing that people were on the same journey as me.
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, and you and I talked about this kind of in our kind of in our debrief, was this kind of thing of like, I wish that people were more involved.
Yeah.
It wasn't really till like later on in the program that like people actually started uploading photos regularly or like engaging in conversations and allowing people to support them. And I know, like, with myself, like, there was a lot of resistance around kind of posting progress photos because I felt like I was making progress very quickly, and I didn't want to kind of make people feel bad as they weren't, or kind of, like, make people feel... But then, I mean, you would offer the kind of opposite to that, which was, like, you know, your progress would be motivating people. So I think, but, you know, based on my own kind of insecurities at the time of, like, what that was, I think maybe I could have been a little bit more forthcoming in terms of my progresses. But as I said, community is super important to me. So if people aren't really engaging, then I think it's just like either you lay a carte blanche that you're like, I don't want to engage with anyone and I won't be existing on the platform, or like if you're going to choose to be on the platform, then like open your mind to engage.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's
whatever works.
Right. Exactly. And a lot of people learn get along in different ways, and some are more outgoing than others, and some need different sources of accountability. So it seemed like you really latched on to that community aspect, like you were saying before. It's like that is what you wanted. You wanted people to know that they're on the same journey as you. So
yeah.
I think that's awesome. So kind of my next question for you, man, is, and this is going to be a good one, what did you learn about yourself, like physically and mentally?
I go back to, like, there's moments, I think, and I mean, you and I texted the whole time, so it's like, I feel like you'll remember these moments, but like, there were times
I remember every single one of them.
So I was like, there were times when I was like on the Stairmaster doing like fucking like 20 to whatever minutes of just like climbing at like a rapid pace. And there were moments where like I actually, because coincidentally around the same time that I started the program, I lost my headphones. So I was like going to the gym just kind of like in silence, and then like just sitting there and like doing the work. And basically like the only thing to keep me going was my self-talk. You know, was this idea of like, I have to keep like whatever is driving me right now is this kind of like self-determination. Just be like, well, you have to do it. Like, you can't shit out at this point. And normally, like with music or whatever, like it kind of
you can kind of like zone out.
Yeah, you can kind of like not be as present or as active, you know. And so I think like the kind of change that I went through was really putting myself first in terms of my own self-talk becoming better, having patience with myself, understanding that like there are going to be days where I actually just don't want to be there, that like it's actually really difficult. I mean, the fitness part of it is something that I love because I love using my body in that way. I felt like the biggest changes that I've experienced are probably in like my nutrition and diet, simply because, and I still struggle with it, like I still really struggle with it because for me I love food so much. I've started to really minimalize things down so that I'm eating basically the same thing every day. But like when we started to go into like a cutting phase, it was really hard for me. I'd never done that before. And I, at the time, was working so much, and like I was doing ballet, and I was like in rehearsal, and I was like going and doing all this cardio. And so for me, I was exhausting so much energy that even the caloric deficit was like not necessarily fueling me in the way that I think I needed to.
Yeah.
And me not having the education to be like, oh, okay, like what's actually happening is not that I'm like not eating enough. It's like actually like I'm expending way too much energy every day. So it was just, it kind of brought, tangent aside, it kind of brought a deep awareness to how my body functions on a daily basis. And it's brought like a deep awareness to like, I can start to tell when something's off in my body. Like when I eat something that feels like a little bit off, I'm like, yeah, okay, like my body didn't like that, or like these things. It improves my self-talk. It allows me to be more present. I think anything with health and fitness, which is probably why people avoid it, is because it is actually very self-reflective. You know, or it can be. I think for some people maybe it's not, but
and it's a lot more mentally challenging than a lot of people realize. A lot of people think like, okay, I need to eat healthy and I need to work out, but the mental aspect of a journey like that is should not be underestimated. You know, so it's something that really makes you push every single day, regardless of whether you're bulking or cutting, because it takes grit. It really does. So,
well, and it's also like understanding the goals within it. Like I know with you and I, at the start, I had very specific goals based on like commercial ideals or whatever the case. Because again, even though I have a training background, for me, the composition of bodies was still so elusive. Like I was like, okay, I don't really understand like what this actually is. So then when I did drop so much weight or whatever, I actually got to the point where I was like, this actually doesn't feel like me. Even though this is the goal that Anders and I set out, this doesn't actually feel like me. Like I don't like feeling this smaller. I don't like feeling like this. So it actually kind of detracted away from my motivation, which just comes back to clarity. Like I don't think there was anything wrong with how I was being led at all. I think you guys were totally attentive to what my goals were. But in hindsight and upon reflection, I was like, oh, like maybe I'm not happiest at that weight.
Right.
You know?
And
so
and the really cool thing is you can take control of that and change it.
Exactly.
And that's how you, I mean, that's the journey. You're learning exactly what you want. It's like goals always change, but individuals don't really, you know, in a way. Obviously, individuals can change, but goals are something that doesn't have to be set in stone. You can think one thing that you want it, go for that, and then realize, oh, I actually want to veer off in this way and accomplish that instead. So that's exactly what you went through, and that was really cool. Mm-hmm. So you learned exactly what you wanted, and now
and I think it's changing and growing. You know what I mean? Like what started out to me just being like, oh, I want to be like really cut, you know, because like I admire what you and Rafe were able to do in terms of competition. But then upon like, you know, spending all that time doing that, I was like, I'm not sure that I'm a bodybuilder competition person. Like for me, it's like I just want maximum use of my body. Like I don't want
functionality.
Exactly. It comes down to functionality. It comes down to durability. It comes down to strength. It comes down to like me feeling strong and
mental clarity.
Exactly. Yeah. So that does not require me to look like a magazine model.
Right.
That requires me to have attentiveness to my body. And yeah, of course, there are certain vanity things. I'm 27 years old. I'm in the prime of my male life. Like, why not look attractive? But like, when it actually goes beyond that, it's like, okay, how am I prepared? Like, how am I setting aside time for like future Wayne when he's like 60 years old and like is still fucking spry? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the motivator now. Yeah. It's like, I want to be as healthy as I can be for as long as I can be. And that requires constant, as you said, constant reevaluation. Like, what are the goals today? You know?
Exactly. And it just builds upon itself. So it's just like you're constantly reevaluating and making new ones. Yeah. So, all right. So I know that you have a few more minutes. So I'm going to knock out kind of last two questions. What would be the best tip for that you would give someone that's going into a caloric deficit? Like, what was something that you found was very beneficial when you were going through?
Something very beneficial is that, like, with caloric deficit, the work really, it's like a compound effect. So you don't actually have to actively be doing anything other than making sure that you hit your calories every day. Then the weight will just drop. Like, I think that's what's fascinating. Like, people have all these, like, weird kind of patterns or whatever, but it's like, realistically, caloric deficit will work scientifically as long as you just eat what you're supposed to eat.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's like kind of like like subconscious weight loss. It's like very interesting.
Right.
Because you don't actually have to put that much thought into it. You just have to eat what you've written out. That's it.
Right.
So that's hard, but that simultaneously is hard because it's eating whatever you want.
I will be the first one to admit being on a caloric deficit is difficult, especially when you get down to how low you got in, like weight-wise, and like how low I've gotten down weight-wise. It's like it gets harder the smaller and smaller you get.
Yeah.
So it, pretty much you're saying like just understand that a caloric deficit is ideally what is making you shred fat.
It's
and
only way to lose weight.
And that's and fitness just kind of helps that because it makes you burn more calories. It makes you in a larger deficit.
Exactly. It's it's scientifically the only way to lose weight.
Right. And so I love that you said that because so many people that I talk to is like, I need to go on the Stairmaster for 4 hours a day, and then they go home and they like kind of eat what they want, and they don't understand that nutrition is key in the whole process. So I think that's something that a lot of people that work with us is like they realize the nutrition side of things is like super eye-opening and overwhelming, not overwhelming, and eye-opening and interesting how it can manipulate your body composition. So yeah, dude, that's a great tip. Just know that the process works.
Which is hard. You got to get over control to like a process that seems so foreign. But
and that really comes down to like when you first jumped on board with us, your mentality was strong in certain ways, but you built it stronger in that way of like telling yourself, oh, you need to stick to this, trust the process. I specifically remember being on the phone call with you, be like, just trust the process. This is what's going to happen, and it did. But you just realized that you wanted to go a different route, and that was fantastic, man. Mm-hmm. So the last thing I'll kind of leave off to is like, do you have anything that you would want to say to anyone that was interested in working with us? Tips or comments or anything?
I think it's being really ready.
Yeah.
You know,
like being 100% ready, committed.
Yeah, like as much as my goals veered towards the end, it was not a result of what you guys were doing at all. Yeah. It was actually me grappling with myself and my own kind of like eating disorders and my own kind of like vanity and my own ego. So the thing is that there's a part of me that feels like I was ready for that first chunk, but I wasn't actually ready for the second chunk. And so, again, that requires kind of really strong mental capacity to go like, I'm going to commit to this. I mean, at least the program you guys are doing now, it's like a week or two, where like our program was 4 months. Like it's a huge lifestyle change over the course of 4 months. But it very quickly made me realize what I wanted and what I didn't want, and also really kind of laid a foundation for a great working relationship between you and I. So for me, it wasn't a loss in the sense of the word, but in terms of tips for people coming into this, just be really sure about what it is that you want, you know, like just be really sure that what it is that you want. And if you don't know yet, that's okay, you're allowed to be in that process, but like trust that you and Laith know what you're talking about, and if you're willing to go the full 150% with you guys, then you won't be disappointed, you know.
Awesome. So I'll just leave it off of this. Did you enjoy working with us?
Always, yeah, of course.
Good.
Yeah.
I did not pay him to say that, guys. No, but seriously.
Not endorsed. But
no, my favorite thing about working with people is building relationships, and we've built such a close bond, and it's been amazing to see how you've grown since then, and where you are now, and the things that you're up to, and I feel like mentally you're in a really good place, and you know exactly what you're going to do, and you're going to fucking get it.
Yeah, so, I think so too. I think it's been extremely helpful. This last year has been extremely reflective and like really important, and I don't regret any of the process.
And this past year, you've been putting on some serious muscle too.
I have, yeah, it's been good, noticeable.
So so it's amazing what like that mental shift can do to your entire life, like all areas. It doesn't matter. It's not just fitness; it's your entire life. So
it's a commitment to yourself. You know, I think that you guys are just facilitating people committing to themselves. Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go, man. I know you got something going on at 11. Thank you so much for jumping on. You are the freaking best. And have a great day, dude.
Yeah, you bet.